Good morning, AAG students. So today is Monday, and for today and tomorrow, Monday and Tuesday, we're going to be working on factoring polynomials, right? We're going to be factoring out greatest common factors, but what we're going to start off with here is we're going to try to, factor trinomials. All right, so you will see this PDF posted, right? I'm going to work out a couple questions with you just to show you what we're looking for here. The front page here, I want you to read through it, okay? Because there's some vocabulary on here, some ideas that you guys should take a look at. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip ahead to the second page, okay? Now, I know that you've seen this before, and I'm just going to do a quick little review of how this should work out for you. We are actually trying to take this trinomial, right? 1, 2, 3 terms, this trinomial, and write it as a factor, right? Or excuse me, the product of two factors. So if you look up here, let's go backwards here for a second, right? If we were going to check to see if these two binomials multiply back to this, then we would use what we've been doing for the last couple days. You would just distribute, right? X times x is x squared. X times 6 is 6x. 3 times x is 3x. And 3 times 6 is 18. Notice that in the middle here, we have like terms. Anytime we can simplify, we should. So there's a shortcut, and that shortcut is these two numbers have a sum of the middle number, 9, right? These two numbers have a product of the last term, 18. So when we go to try and factor these, we should be able to take a shortcut. We should ask ourselves, and we should always start with the last term, right? The numeric term, right? Notice it doesn't have a variable like the other two do. So I have to ask myself, what multiplies to give me 18? Now, if you notice, they put these little thought bubbles in there, like kind of like a cartoon. So I could do 1 times 18, 2 times 9, or 3 times 6. Those are my only whole number options. Now, I want to ask myself, wait a minute, what multiplies to give me 18, but also adds to give me 11? 1 plus 18 is 19, no good. 2 plus 9 gives me 11. I like it. So I'm going to go with x plus 2 and x plus 9. If you want to go ahead and check, x squared plus 9x plus 2x plus 18. The 2 plus the 9 gives you 11. The 2 times the 9 gives you 18. Let's skip over to here. All right, now I'm going to set up, which is what you should do as well, set up your two sets of parentheses, right? We're going to have a binomial, 2 terms here, times another binomial, 2 terms here, excuse me. So now I want to ask myself, what numbers multiply to give me 36? So there's a bunch actually, right? And I'm going to list them over here, all right? 1 times 36, right? 2 times 18, 3 times 12, 4 times 9, 5, no good. 5 times nothing really works to give us a whole number here. And then, we'll finally have 6 times 6. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets of options here. So let's ask ourselves, all of these pairs multiply to give me 36, but which ones add up to 12, right? So let's see here. No, that adds up to 37, that adds up to 20, that adds up to 15, that adds to 13. Aha, 6 plus 6. So now this is a good one to talk about because this is actually a special case. If you notice, I have x plus 6 times x plus 6. 6 plus 6 is 12. 6 times 6 is 36. But notice that these two binomials are identical. Exact same terms, exact same symbols in the middle. So I could actually write this as x plus 6 quantity squared. This was one of those special cases that was in the Khan Academy videos from last week. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead 2 pages. All right, there's a lot of these, guys, but you have a few days to do them, and I'm telling you, once you get into a rhythm, once you get into a groove, they really start to go quickly. So if you've noticed on the next couple pages, we have negatives, all right? And negatives usually adds another layer to these questions, but I'm still taking the same approach. Okay, I want to ask myself, what numbers multiply to give me 24? Now, I know it's negative. We'll talk about that in a second. But I'm going to list my options. 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8. Excuse me. Excuse me. and then also 4 times 6. All right, so here's my only options, but now here's where the difference is, and I need you guys to please pay attention. The negatives are, they matter, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with x times x, because I know x times x gives me x squared. But now think about this. I need two numbers that multiply to give me negative 24. Ladies and gentlemen, think about it. One of these has to be positive, one of them has to be negative. I could swap the signs, but that's just how I picked it. Okay, now, here's what we need to think about. These two numbers have to multiply to give us negative 24, yet they have to add to give us positive 2. So let's think about this. You know, if I take 4 and put it here, right? X plus 4, x minus 6. Well, that's going to multiply to give me negative 24, but that's going to add to give me negative 2. So I'm close, all right? I'm actually going to switch those. I'm going to put 6 here, and I'm going to put 4 here, right? Please watch. Positive 6 times negative 4 gives me negative 24. Also, positive 6 plus negative 4, or 6 minus 4, also gives me 2. So I know that this would work out. If you need to, you could multiply this out and see that it would simplify to this. All right, finally, I want to come to the last of the special cases. Now, if you notice down here, we're trying to factor something, right? It's a quadratic, right? Because it has a power of 2, but it only has 2 terms. So what I want you to think about is this, all right? I'm going to rewrite this for a second, and many of you will do a couple of these and just use the shortcut, but I actually want to, the term that is missing is the x term. So I think this used to be x squared plus 0x minus 4, right? Do you see how we don't need to write that and it would simplify to this? But this gives me a good idea because I can apply what we were doing a few minutes ago, right? I can ask myself, what numbers multiply to give me 4, right? Now my options would be 1 times 4 or 2 times 2. That's it. However, we know that this is negative, so I'm pretty sure it's got to be x plus and x minus, or vice versa, right? You can put the minus first if you'd like. But now we have to ask ourselves, they have to multiply to give you negative 4, but add to give you 0. So this was our special case here. I'm going to use my 2's, okay? Think about it. Positive 2 plus negative 2 is 0. Positive 2 times negative 2 is negative 4, okay? And then there's another shortcut we can take if you recognize it. This is called, I'm gonna write this down. I'm gonna abbreviate it with this acronym, DOTS. This is called the difference of 2 squares, okay? Because right here, we're taking the difference, which is subtraction, and these are 2 perfect squares. There's just the name for it, fancy name for it. So I'm gonna write x plus and x minus. Well, let's take a look. What numbers multiply to give you negative 1? Well, that's gonna be 1 and negative 1. All right, again, there's a video in the Khan Academy section from the last few days. So guys, I hope this helps, all right? There's one last thing I wanna show you, and that is the second document, the second PDF, right? It's got this little keep calm and factor on symbol up top here. This is basically the same thing we just did. However, you'll notice that this deals with the GCF, which is the greatest common factor. All right, now, I'm gonna do 2 of these and then I'll stop it here, but I want you to make sure you ask me some questions and make sure you watch the sample videos that are posted with this. Now, if you notice right off the bat, this is very different because of the 3 in front. All right, so what I'd like you to do is, anytime you see a different number up here, other than 1 or other than being blank, I want you to try to ask yourself, can you divide that number out? So we're actually like doing reverse distributive property. So if I divide 3 out of this expression, this first term, if I divide 3 by 3, it leaves me with only x squared. If I go in reverse, what is 3 times x squared? Oh, 3x squared. Now I'm going to keep going. I want to divide 18x by 3. So 3 times what will give me 18x? Well, 18 divided by 3 will leave 6x. All right, and then finally, I want to also divide, all 3 by 3. So what is 24 divided by 3? That is 8. All right, guys, so in essentially what we just did was divided 3 out of each of the terms. Now look, this is right where we were on the other sheet. All right, I'm going to leave the 3 in front. It doesn't magically disappear. But now I just leave it out there. Now all I do is focus on this trinomial. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put my x's out in front, right? Because x times x is x squared. Now I ask myself, what multiplies to give me 8, but also adds to give me 6? So I'm going to use 4 and 2. Now I'm done. I have completely factored it and broken it down into pieces. All right? There's a tricky one down here, number 7. I'm going to try this one, right? So maybe you can use 7 as a guide for number 8. Now, first thing I want to do is, notice that there's a different coefficient out in front, so I'm going to try to divide it out. So if I divide 8 out of both of these terms, okay, if I divide 8 out, what's left? Well, think about it. 8 divided by 8 is 1, so I'll just have x squared. And 32, right, divided by 8, that's going to be minus 4. Now, this is tricky because it kind of looks like we're done here, but you got to be careful. We can factor this further, right? This is that difference of 2 squares, special case, right? I could break that up further. So again, I'm going to leave my 8 there. And now if you remember, x squared minus 4 is a difference of 2 squares. So I'm going to have x plus 2 and x minus 2, or vice versa. All right? And then we are done. We have successfully factored this as far as we can go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that helps. There will be extra videos to watch from Khan Academy and other sites as well. All righty, hope that helps. Talk to you soon.